to talk a little bit about the stories we live in. You know, it's the stories we speak and tell ourselves and tell each other is what our world consists of, no matter what's really in it, right? Like, you know, so it's important for us to understand that in building that story and building that structure, we have to live inside of it. So through this whole process of unraveling, and basically what we're doing is moving the roles out on the story, right? We've talked some about meditating. We've talked some about finding that place of the observer. Have you meditated before? Okay. So you know about the observer, right? That place where you kind of step back. And here's my vision of it, is that, you know, you're in the situation, right? When you move into that observer place, you can step back, and it's very similar to watching a movie. You can understand what everybody's bringing to the table, right? You can see the circumstance with which they're living. You can understand that it has little to do with you, right? Like most of the time, the way people are showing up is the way they're showing up because of their circumstance, right? All we have control over is the way we show up. Right? And the story that we're dictating out. And a lot of times I think if we're overcoming any sort of childhood trauma, which, you know, I mean, we all have a certain amount because we're trying to live within the structures of our parents. Even if they were great parents, we're having to fit into that structure. And it's, you know, a push and a pull to get out of that and figure out who we are, right? So I think that as we're looking at this and we move into that place of the observer, we can also start to see the patterns that are, you know, forming in our lives. And, you know, most of that is about how we're showing up, right? Like, it's very much about, like, where are we standing? What are we bringing here? And what pattern is following us through? Does that make sense? I think that, you know, in the process of connecting the dots and seeing those patterns, oftentimes we see the big ones, you know, but, you know, we have this default pattern that we fall into, and we've got patterns that are forming in the way we show up for almost every situation, right? Almost every situation. So the more we stand in that observer place, you know, during our meditations, do the recapitulation, throw that picture up there, and watch from that observer's place the way you're showing up and the way everybody in your bubble's showing up. Because if you shift that, just even one slightly little bit, you know, one choice in that scenario is different, you're gonna break out of that pattern, right? And people around you are going to react differently.